basement dwellers? Welcome to another edition of the Jersey Fanatics. I'm Chris the Dace Man Dace, and joining me as always, Eric Bereza.
Hi, Mickey Mouse.
And Tyler Freed is still on assignment. He could possibly be the fifth starter. We don't know, but it's in a lengthy assignment because he's been on the IL for, 2 weeks now?
Yeah, if you're sort of fit, go into the center field and just talk to the security guard and see if he can pull you down.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be the fifth starter that way.
Might as well. I don't even think we technically have a fifth starter on the team as of right now, do we? You haven't brought him up yet, right?
No, I think they did. Allard is up.
Okay.
He's ready for Saturday. Allegedly, I don't know.
Well, tonight we're going to be talking about the road trip, which even though will probably sound like Debbie Downers, it was a good road trip. They took 4 of the 6, swept the Toronto Blue Jays up in Toronto, and then just had some kind of disappointing losses at the end of the Marlins because the Marlins are the worst team in the National League, and we should have probably kicked their ass a little bit harder than we did.
And we partied too much in Miami. Always happens that way.
And always NOLA. But we'll start things off talking about the Toronto series, which we were talking about as we filmed last week. And again, like the Astros, they came back with some heroics and Mr. Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, Kyle Schwarber with 3 home runs. Absolutely insanity. You know, after that first inning, you got the 1 run, and then they scored 6, and you're like, oh, shit, this ain't going to go well at all. And then all of a sudden, they just kept picking away, and they were able to come back. But, again, it was the fifth starter, Tyler Phillips. So, like, just anybody that can possibly be that fifth starter just can't do it. No matter if it's Walker, Phillips. They had what was it? They had Mercado in there at one point. They had almost every single person you could think of on this team was in that spot, and it's failed every step of the way. And they have like one of the worst records on that 5th day.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help when you took 9 games to see if Taiwan was going to figure it out, which he still has not done in the bullpen, and we'll get to that conversation at some point too. But the Toronto series was a good series. We have to hit home on that they swept the Toronto Blue Jays in Toronto, which, like, typically, whatever reason, these American League teams we were not doing so well against.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. The bats showed up, and that's exactly what you hope for, because you haven't really seen that. And they showed up in a big way to come back and win 10-9 in that first game.
Yep.
So it was huge, absolutely huge.
Especially in Toronto, which is so another issue that kind of happened with these two series is they're in like markets that aren't big baseball towns per se, and the stadiums are not Citizens Bank Park. Not many stadiums can say that they are, but these stadiums have very low attendance. And considering that the Tuesday or the second game of the Toronto series, I think it might have been Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, was a 4:05 game. So that even added to
Wednesday.
Yeah, so that even added to the whole low attendance thing. Especially when the Blue Jays are 5th in the American League East and have no shot at the playoffs.
Yep. And I'm surprised that they really kept their team together like at the deadline. I really thought that they were going to trade people away just because of where they're heading at. Like you can't compete with the Yankees and Orioles, and then you had the you had Boston that was on a good tear for a little bit. They're still a good team right now, but you also had the Rays as well, who just they're sellers every year. I don't know why, but they have amazing talent in their minors.
Sellers every year, but buyers in the off season. It's like
it's
we're gonna give ourselves 3 months to figure this shit out. If not, sell them all. Fuck them.
They have a guy I saw a report yesterday. The guy is in Double-A, and he has 106 stolen bases this year. 106 and batting .356.
Like 1 a game at this point.
Like it's absolutely insane what this dude is doing, and who knows what happens if he goes to Triple-A or goes up to the majors and what translates. But 106 stolen bases.
He's gonna blow his ACL. Just like all those all-star pitchers that go for Tommy Johns as soon as they're doing really well.
Yeah, or he's going to pull in a Rosareno and have a high school girlfriend. It's just not going to be good, man. But, anyway.
The Toronto series was a good one and a good, Kickstarter to get us, we came off a bad game that ended the homestand, if I recall.
Yeah, well, we still won it, but it was 3-2. But, yeah.
Did we? Was it the last
game
against the Nationals?
We won it in the 11th, the Braves.
The Braves. Oh, yeah, that's right. So we were kind of carrying some momentum into Toronto. And then carried that momentum into Miami. Do you have any final thoughts on Toronto before we get out? It seemed like Schwarber found his fire, and now he's Mr. September.
Well, Sanchez pitched an amazing game, that second game. He went 7 innings with 7 Ks and 0 walks. Like I say almost every single podcast, if your starter is not going to throw a walk, you have a pretty good shot, depending on how he actually does throw, but you have a pretty good shot of winning that game.
Nola doesn't walk many.
No, well, yeah, that's what I said. Depending on how he throws. If he throws it directly over the plate, there's an issue. But yeah, they carried that momentum into that Toronto series. You couldn't really see it the first inning after being down by 5 runs, but they kept battling back. They didn't give up. Normally, that's a game where Thompson likes to put Garrett Stubbs in as pitcher, and you have all sorts of random people just everywhere.
Oh, that game was on the horizon.
100%. So it was a good way to get out of Toronto with winning that series and sweeping that series, even though it was only 2 games, but still perfect.
Well, they followed up with the dreaded Miami trip because, like you've said on almost every podcast when we have to talk about their road trips to Miami, that is just not a ballpark that they seem to do well in. But we were led into a false sense of security in those first 2 games, where they lit up the Marlins. There was the one game, it was 16-1?
Yeah.
And literally every player that played,
16-2.
It was 16-2. Every player that played a position got a hit. So everybody literally hit on that game. The first game, just as well. And you really thought, okay, we're back to first half of the season baseball.
That was the one. The first game against Miami was when the Bryson Stott hit that upper deck homer. Like, that thing was outrageously high. It probably took a dude probably 15 minutes to even find the ball because there's nobody in the stands. So just to be able to get up to that upper level.
We should take a moment to talk about him, because if you go back and listen to a lot of our podcasts from this year, he's been kind of a sore point. There have been much more glaring sore points on this team and much more highs that kind of hide the fact that he was struggling. He's really coming around, and hopefully at the right time, where he's batting better, he's fielding better. This is the Stott we saw last year.
It seems like, I don't want to say everyone is doing better, but everyone's on the uptick. The only one that's kind of level-ish or even below level is Brandon Marsh.
I'd even say Casty, he's not here. Tyler's not here to berate me, but Casty's cooling off because everybody else is heating up.
Well, he did win that game against the Braves before going into Toronto, and he's had half the walk-offs. They said that stat yesterday, which was insane. We had now 9, which we're going to talk about how we got that 9th walk-off. But at the time we had 8 walk-offs, and he had 4 of them. And it's pretty damn impressive that, if he gets up to the plate 50% of the time, he's going to win it. So, pretty damn good.
Clutchianos.
Yeah.
Coining it here. So, Clutchianos. Doesn't
no
work with
ever
Schwarber.
Say it again.
Can't say Clutcharber, or it's like a Charmander Pokemon. But Clutchianos works.
But that first game was Ranger. He only pitched 5 innings. He's turned into Taijuan Walker in a way. Kind of, he can't get past that 5th inning. or sixth inning really because he pitched 5 full, but didn't give up any earned runs. But he only had 4 Ks and 2 walks, and there was a lot of times during that game that you thought things were going to fall off the track real fast, and he was able to get through it. But his like fastball is up to like, I think it was like 89 was the fastest that he threw, and the changeup was like 84. So it was like no difference between his pitches at all.
I think as much as like we're gonna berate the fifth starter because that's again that game is coming up and we'll have our fair share to say about that. But let's take a moment to talk about Ranger and the fact that he's not Ranger of the first half. He blew his load early. He probably hit his inning count, and this is just them trying to like push him to the finish line. But when it comes to the postseason, I do feel confident as him as our fourth starter because we should, in theory, have a bullpen that can carry him since he does seem to do well into the fourth and fifth. It's like usually the end of the fifth into the sixth that the wheels start falling off. If the other three are doing what they're supposed to do, I'm okay with him only giving us 4 to 5 innings in a fourth game.
It was just like the kind of like the same thing of what happened. We'll talk about, I guess, I don't know, next week. But this game today, Rangers' wheels just fell off pretty damn fast again.
Yeah.
And it was just, I think it was the sixth inning, and everything just went downhill pretty fast. And you could kind of see it before they brought him out for that inning. So you're like, what the hell are you doing, Thompson, again? Like, just keeping the pitchers in too long. And I know you're probably trying to save the bullpen, but dude, you see that your pitcher's struggling out there, and you saw him last time his outing. He only got through 5, and every single inning he had runners on. So you gotta, if you're Thompson, you gotta be able to know when your pitchers are starting to fall off, and when that first wheel falls off, have someone ready. And he didn't have anybody ready.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's just a regular season thing where he's trying to rest the bullpen as much heading into September. But if that shit happens in the postseason, we can't afford we're doing this against bad teams. It's against the Miami Marlins. We left them in a little bit too long. Today we're talking about the Tampa Bay Rays where they're leaving them in too long. We'll probably end up talking about this game at some point because it's the tides have turned in our favor. So the roller coaster of emotion shouldn't be that bad heading into the ninth. But with Ranger though, if he's tighter on that leash, I think him as the fourth starter if needed, because you only play 5 in the divisional series, right?
Yeah.
If needed for that.
This is you want to obviously win 3, but yeah.
Yeah. So him is the fourth option, and they need to acknowledge he's the fourth. Like they have to acknowledge that Sanchez is at this moment. I thought he might be 1 or 2 with the way he's been pitching compared to like Nola and Wheeler seems to have a bad game at least once a month.
I think he'll probably go into the bullpen for that first series. Like honestly,
Ranger?
I think yeah.
Okay.
You have your top 3 obviously, Wheeler, Nola, and Sanchez. In my mind, Sanchez is your third.
Yeah. And they need to acknowledge that. They bet on that horse at the beginning of the season when they gave him the extension. You need to follow through in the postseason. Like, Ranger, no offense, you were lights out in the first half, but World Series or bust. You're number 4.
Yep, and that's what they have to go through. And you don't know if that's what they're going to do, considering they didn't go full hard or full bore for the trade deadline.
Oh, yeah, the fact that they gave a participation trophy to fucking Taiwan and let him pitch 9 games when you knew out of 3 games that he was cooked.
Yeah. Yep.
And now we're going to get to it when we talk about the third game of the Miami series. He's not doing that great in the bullpen either.
No. Nope.
Especially since you're expecting him for the quote unquote long, like the stretch. So if like your Sanchez's or your Rangers or even Nola get into trouble, which happened, we'll might as well go into that game where Nola starts struggling because he's another one that has at least one very bad game a month. Walker was supposed to be the guy like, okay, no stress, come in, and eat up some innings, so we can try to get back into it. And I think he sunk us further in the hole Saturday. What do you think about the Saturday game with Nola and Walker really pretty much finishing out?
You kind of expected Nola to have that good game because he had that last one that was just amazing for what he did. So you thought they were going to get out again, and like you said, he couldn't even get out of the fifth inning.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a completely awful game. Again, there was the walks. He had 2 walks. He only had 5 Ks, but it was just no matter what you did, he couldn't get an out. Like it was just same thing with Ranger that one game. Everyone was on the base path. Every single one. You never felt really good about where he was going with his pitches. His command was extremely off. Oh shit, Castellanos about to cause a fight. Sorry.
Bryce?
No, Castellanos. I think I just hit him.
Again? This man is a ball magnet.
But yeah, so you had Taijuan come out, and Taijuan kind of looked good the first 2 pitches or first 2 outs. He got like 2 outs pretty fast, and then everything went downhill again for him. And then he gave up the 3 runs. He sucks, man. He absolutely sucks. It's just Banks didn't look very good either in that game, but it was all on Taijuan to be able to get through, and he just couldn't.
The damn shame is, even though Nola had a bad game, if Taijuan came in and was like a hero, this was his moment.
Yeah.
Because the Phillies came back, but he pushed them further into the grave to the point where, they couldn't get the hell out of it. Because at least Saturday's game wasn't Sunday's game, where they were not giving up. They kept battling back. Unfortunately, on the pitching end, they just kind of let it go.
Sunday fell off.
So let's talk about Sunday, because that was the debut of Seth Johnson.
Who I was begging for the whole entire time. If you will listen to these podcasts, I was saying Seth Johnson has been amazing in the minors. You got to bring him up. He's been lights out. Bring him up. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait. And he gave up 8 hits, 9 runs, 9 earned, 0 Ks, 3 walks in 2.1 innings. Mind you, his whole entire family is down in Miami to watch him do this. So, finally back up in the majors. Let's do this. And then everything just falls off, man.
It's a shame because, these guys who are trying to fill in for the 5th starter, if you're in our system, let's take it from their perspective that you're in our system, you're hearing from all of the experts how fantastic our pitching staff is. Do you honestly expect to be called up at hey, we need a 5th starter?
Yeah, absolutely not. There's no way. But that's all it's been, is just been constant carousel of who's coming up, who's going down, who's coming up, who's going down.
And realistically, no sense of direction. I mean, they're not telling you shit to the last moment of hey, this is who's going to be starting this day. The Colby Albert, we kind of assumed was going to come back up at some point when he was eligible. But for the most part, when it came to the games in between that, they're running by the fly. And the Tyler Phillips is a damn shame because he wasn't that bad.
No.
And he just, up and down so many times, that probably what did him in. And now they're not going to bring him back up again because the last one was rough.
Yeah, there's 0 shot of him seeing the majors this year.
Yeah, and the same with Seth. Seth ain't going to come back up after what just happened Sunday. So now
Nope.
I don't know, looking to the future, because I don't really spend too much time on Sunday because Sunday was an awful fucking game. Nobody was doing what they were supposed to do. Errors. You're getting no hit by a guy that was supposed to pitch Saturday, but then it pitched on Sunday because he had a migraine or something. So he came back and gave a Cy Young 6 or 7 innings, a shutout baseball.
7 innings, 6 Ks. He had a 5.33 ERA going into the game, and he brought it down to 4.88.
Mm-hmm. And again, I don't want to lose sight of the fact that we walked away from that road series 4-2, which is fantastic. But
Yeah.
these are the worst team in the American League East, the worst team in the National League, and you what was it, 10-1, 10-2?
Yeah, 10-1, 10-1.
10-1 on Sunday, and I get that we have that fifth starter problem, but what the hell was the bats excuse?
And that one run was in the ninth inning too.
Yeah,
and it was like weird stuff.
Again, not to harp on the negative, because they came out of that series that road trip 4-2, which is what you want. You want them to win series. I know they split the one in Miami, but at least they swept Toronto to kind of balance it.
Yep.
Harper not running it out Sunday night. And then again, we might as well roll into the homestand because we're recording on Tuesday night. They're in the eighth inning, bottom of the eighth, top of the eighth,
bottom
of the eighth. So we're already 2 games in the Tampa series. Again, Bryce Harper not running it out. So the question I kind of have to you, and again, I don't want us to be completely negative, but if you can't hit the long ball or be that clutch player that you normally are, and the graphics show every time they show the credits for the MLB broadcast, don't you think in your head, like, I'm not watching a ball if I know I haven't hit home run in like 3 months or 2 months or whatever it is?
1 month exactly yesterday.
Yeah, and you
it was exact 31 days.
Like, nothing against him, but he if you're not having those clutch moments, you should not act like you're having a clutch moment until you can know that you're clutch again, if that makes sense.
Oh, it absolutely does. And I get that. I was beyond, like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm like, how the hell can I tell, my son who's 9 watching the game with me, how can I tell him, hey, you don't have to run every ball out. Look, even major league players do that. Like, it kind of sucked in that aspect, but I got it because I felt like for him it was kind of like a monkey coming off his back, that he finally got that home run after a month. And even though it hit the top of the wall, I think he obviously thought that he hit it, so he felt really damn good about it. So I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt with that one. I was still pissed off that he didn't run it out because he should have got a double.
Oh, you could totally tell that he was pissed off once he realized it wasn't out, because there was if you can lip read, there was the very colorful word that came out of his mouth when he realized he had to run. So
yeah. And now I think with anybody else, if that was like Cal Stevenson or Buddy Kennedy, whatever the hell his name is, I think he gets taken out of the game immediately.
Oh, it probably was back down to AAA.
Yeah, and just because it's Bryce Harper, it was like, you know what, whatever, shit happens, no worries. Which I really like the fact that he ended up apologizing to Thompson. Like, came up to him in the dugout, was like, hey, it's my bad. I screwed up. Sorry, it won't happen again. Blah blah blah. So I appreciate that.
Yep. And to your point, that's the first time Topper has really been caught on camera showing any kind of emotion into the negative, where his head just sank of like, wow, God, because he knew what he had, the conversation he had to have after that. Because at that point, why would Schwarber try to run anything out, or Castellanos at that point, or Trey? We were ragging Trey for when he came back from his hamstring strain. Of like, why isn't he running shit out?
He knew what city he's into. He knew that if he didn't have a conversation or whatever it may be, that he was going to get nonstop roasted by every fan, every media outlet in this city. So he knew, just like, God damn it, man, why'd you have to put me in that predicament?
And it's a shame with him, because clearly he wants to be in the Castellanos spot of having 5 walk-offs. He wants to be in the Schwarber spot of having like this home run stretch. And you could tell he wants to be all of that combined. But his small ball is helping us win games. I know it's as a $30 million a year player, whatever the hell he is. He wants to be the all-star. But dude, if you win us games, that's all you need to do. We fucking in 2022 we got behind a backup catcher because he was a good DJ. Like it didn't matter that he sucked. It was like, oh, he's if he picked the song that's getting him through, fuck it. But like he put so much pressure on himself to be the Castellanos, Turner, Schwarber combined that he I guarantee you, if he watched that from the at home on his couch or in the dugout, he knew it wasn't a home run. But because he heard it and he was trying to get out of a slump and he wanted to be that guy that got the walk off, he just like, oh, this is it. This is the this broadcast has been a presentation of MLB moment that they would play over and over again for a year. Another crazy fucking play that happened that game, and I'm dropping so many F-bombs, but Rojas, the catch, or the non-catch.
The non-catch.
It boggles your mind. You heard the guys in the booth say it. You heard the post-game say it. It wasn't a home run. He made it a home run by the way that he kind of came down, twisted, and then smacked. Like, if he would have went the other way, well, he probably would have held it.
Yeah. It was like a basketball player dunking a ball.
Yeah.
He had his glove and just slammed it over the net or over the fence. And that was, boom, turned a double into a home run.
Which is so, and the crazy thing is today he had a play out in outfield where I swear that like he wasn't going to jump and catch it, but it was in the same area. And the thing that we thought would have happened, it fucking shot off, and now he's chasing it. It's like, well, what is happening in that corner?
Yeah. Monty's corner hit it perfectly.
Yeah, it did the thing that it does once it goes wild card, bitches. But we're talking about two weird negatives in a game that was pivotal to get them back on a momentum switch. And Cody Clemens, who's now also Cody Clutch. We're just going to throw Clutch in everybody's name. He gets a walk-off. The walk-off that Bryce wanted to win that game.
100%. Yep, and that's why Cody should have been brought up a while ago, but you kept going with these other random people like Buddy Kennedy and Cal Stevenson and all this other stuff. And the only reason why they're up here is because of the injuries to every single person. Bohm is down. You have Sosa now down. Schwarber just went down in this game. Like everyone's getting injured all of a sudden. And it's not a great time to get injured.
For you, it's the baseball god saying, bring up motherfucking Scotty Jetpacks.
Yeah.
I will take your whole team down until you bring that motherfucker up. That's what's happening.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Scotty Jetpacks doesn't make up for Schwarber.
You don't know that. Put him in a DH. Put him in a DH.
Strikeouts he does.
Let's see it. Put him in a DH.
Yeah, but I don't.
It's a perfect scenario.
I don't think I saw, but go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say it's a perfect scenario to bring him up, put him in DH. Like, look in here. Listen here. You need to put up Schwarber numbers because if you don't, you know the alternative. You don't go back down to minor league. You're going to be playing for the Athletics because you're going to get claimed off the waivers and drug over there to take out the rest of your season.
But I didn't think anyone. Like I don't know how short Buddy Kennedy is, but the dude looks like a miniature Altuve, but like jacked beyond belief. Like I don't know what the hell. He just looks like a roided out bulldog.
And like he got his name chanted. So like, how wild is that?
Yeah. And apparently he was a Phillies fan growing up, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he's from Millville, right?
Yeah, Millville. Yeah. Yeah, so he's not Trout-esque.
Yeah. But he's Buddy. Every time they announce him, and this is going to be an obscure reference for wrestling fans to go back to like 2009, 2010, and Mr. Kennedy, where he would come out with the microphone and yell Kennedy. I just want them to do that. Yeah, they need to do that with him, and he'll be a hometown hero.
That should be his walkout song.
I absolutely I don't even know. He probably doesn't watch wrestling, but that would be my first thing. Because every time it starts, it goes Kennedy. And because of the damn pitch clock, that's all you would get. You wouldn't actually get his theme song.
That's it.
They rolled his chant into the Cody chants, so like it was a wild game on Monday when it
they were trying to. They were trying to chant for everyone.
Yeah, but it was such a wild because there's so many good things that happened, and then these weird bad things that happened. Because Sanchez pitched another gem. He went 6 innings and shut out, and then the bullpen came in and helped him out up until that weird bad home run.
Yeah, yep. And yeah, Kirkering pitched an inning. Hoffman pitched an inning, did pretty well. And then Estevez came and gave up that one weird run because of Rojas.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't even. I don't know how the hell that counts as an earned run.
That's what I was like, because I remember walking past my dad. And I was like, so does that mean it's a blown save for Estevez? Because I feel like another center fielder might have had that or played it better.
I wonder if that says blown save or not.
Because
you got the win.
Of course he did. I feel like any other center fielder would have played that 100% differently. Even if they tried to make that athletic play that he tried to make, which would have been Sports Center moment of the week or whatever. Now it is for the wrong reasons.
Rowan called it. Just saying.
And he does not look like the same man that played here before that moment.
He does not. I think he still has a bandage on his nose when he walks around.
And somehow lost his chin. It's phenomenal.
Yes.
So it was a weird. At least it shifted the momentum back. They got a win. We're here talking to you at the top of the ninth as we're recording on the Tuesday night game against Tampa. It's 9-4 Phillies. Last out. And okay, so I'm going to stop talking about the game because as I talked, there was a nice little blooper into the center. But
you're a little ahead of me.
Well, hopefully it's 9-4. You would hope they're going to pull this win out. They got Banks in. How did you feel about this game? Because this game, when we started this recording, is not how it's going right now as we're getting close to the end of our recording.
No, absolutely not. You had Ranger again. Not look like Ranger. He only made 5 1/3 innings, but he gave up 12 hits, and he had 2 Ks. So it definitely wasn't his best game. It's actually one of his worst that he's ever given up the most hits in his career, I think they said, which was 12. And which isn't good because I think Tyler Phillips gave up 16 or something like that. It was insane what these people have done in the past week. But they're finding ways to overcome it, and that's the best thing that you can do as a team is everyone's pulling together to get ahead and figure out what to do, because they were tied 4-4 an inning ago, and now it's 9-4 in the ninth. So they're finding ways to be able to get the win.
Yeah, no, and I thoroughly agree, and it's crazy because we've sat here and had conversations that if pitching didn't show up, the bats didn't show up, and it's just the worst things seem to happen in these type of games. And again, Tampa Bay is not a playoff contender. They were sellers at the trade deadline. The team that's playing right now for Tampa has a pair of brothers on it. That's how fucking thin their roster is. It's crazy that these are really bad teams, and now, oh my god, we're looking at a bases loaded situation. It makes you nervous, and that's kind of why I want to do the tail end of this episode, because next week we're going to be talking about that all-important Mets series. We got 7 games left against them, right? Or 6 games?
6, I think.
And
we got 7.
We got 7 against the Mets.
It's a 4-game series.
We got 3 against the Brewers and 3 against the Cubs. Now, the Cubs are still in the wild card chase. I don't think they're completely out of it yet. The Brewers, 3 games is enough for them to play trouble for us when it comes to try for seeding. And then the Mets, obviously in this last week span we've been off, have now put their foot in the door when it comes to the wild card, to the point where they're battling with the Braves for that last spot. And again, we said this last episode, eerie shades of 2022 Phillies, the way that they're coming to life.
Braves are beat the Nationals 12-0 tonight.
Okay.
And the Mets are losing 5-2 in the 7th inning.
So they're sitting there. They're doing again shades of the 2022 Phillies, where they're going back and forth with this last wild card spot, and they're getting hot at the right time. And as we're recording, I hope I didn't spoil this for you. The Phillies just won with Cal Stevenson sliding in for the catch.
You got it 5 seconds earlier. It's all right. No
Finally.
worries.
Finally.
Yeah. That's what happens when I'm in my basement. But yeah, like it's just like we said earlier, you can't really trust Ranger right now. Your bullpen pieces are really coming together.
To the point of Ranger, before we jump into the full picture conversation, Ranger, and this sounded like an optimistic note heading into this game, will be pitching one of the Brewers games.
Yeah.
As the way it's playing out. Do you feel confident he bounces back for that?
I do in a way because I don't know. Like the Rangers or the Brewers, I believe, have a lot of left-handers. If I remember their lineup correctly. Well, they have switch hitters too, so maybe not.
And they're missing Yelich, right? Yelich is done for the season.
Yeah. So I feel pretty confident with that series. Not saying we're going to sweep or hopefully win 2 out of 3, but I don't know. Like this team is finding ways to win. They're finding ways to get ahead too. They're not, but on the road we suck.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Which makes that seeding, which makes that seeding oh so much important when we head into the postseason. We're currently the best team in baseball.
And it makes every single game important. And that's what Thompson needs to realize. Like he needs to know that, hey, that fifth starter, you got to do something. You got to figure out, like, if they're only giving you 2 innings, then it better go into a bullpen game almost immediately. Like this is now the time where you have to start getting into those kind of decisions.
Which is kind of crazy because if you think about it, what was it? I want to say it was 2022. We had that problem. We didn't have a fifth starter again because it was Noah Syndergaard came over. He wasn't really doing the job. He was splitting time with.
It was like everything.
There was another like half-ass starter that was kind of splitting time with him because Eflin was still on the team at the time, right? Yeah. So our aces were Wheeler, Nola, Eflin, Ranger. Yeah. And then you had that weird fifth day where it was Noah splitting some of it, and then why can't I think of his name? He's bouncing all around.
Lorenzen.
Nah, he was last year. It was Gibson.
Gibson. Oh, okay, yeah, Kyle Gibson. Yeah. That was 2 years ago. That's right.
And they figured it out with them. And we kind of have the same scenario, even though I don't think if you compare the 2022 fifth starter spot issue with this one, Taiwan is not. I have more faith in Gibson and Syndergaard than I did.
For sure.
Taiwan in this scenario, but we've done it before. Rob has had to do this before.
Yeah,
he has not had to have. He hasn't gotten 5 great starters heading into any postseason because Taiwan was showing signs at the end of last season that he wasn't going to be fucking great.
That should be a wake-up call to Dombrowski now.
You would think. Like, are we going to go get, what's his name, Crochet?
Yeah.
In the offseason? Like, what are we going to do to actually improve pitching? Something that every time we've done an iteration of this podcast, we've talked about we need to improve. Or even just in passing.
Going to get Justin Verlander.
Get Scherzer's a free agent too, isn't he?
I think they all are, man.
I think Scherzer's retiring.
He's good.
But what do you? So looking to the future, the Mets series to me is the most crucial because this is an opportunity for them to really fucking like make a comeback, start hulking out, pointing the finger, saying "No, brother," and just like invincible. The fifth starter will start during that game. They start on Saturday. What's it?
It's going to be Allard.
So I'm trying to think who's going to be pitching that game. So tomorrow night is who? If Ranger pitch tonight, tomorrow night is Wheeler?
It should be Wheeler, yeah.
Then you got Nola.
Nola.
Who will pitch the first Mets game. Then you'll have...
Or Nola's pitching the first Mets game. Or first, sorry, I'm ahead. Yeah, first Mets game.
Then it's Sanchez?
That's Allard again.
Okay. Then Sanchez, then Ranger? Why does it feel weird?
Because I think they not paused, but they went out of order at one time just to be able to get to Wheeler and Nola against Atlanta.
Okay.
So it kind of messed up the rotation.
But Wheeler's tomorrow, right?
Zach Wheeler is tomorrow, yes.
Okay. And then it would go Wheeler.
It's Wheeler, Nola, and then
Allard.
Allard is on Saturday.
And then
Sunday they haven't announced it, but yeah.
In theory, it would be Sunday. So that means the Milwaukee series is going to see Ranger, Wheeler, Nola. Okay, that makes more sense then. How are we feeling about that Mets series then? The thing that always makes me nervous with some of our pitchers within our league is the Mets have seen Nola. The Mets have seen Wheeler enough that this is going to be a stressful weekend.
But the only good thing is, I guess the only good thing that the commissioner has done is he has cut up how many times we play in division games. So they didn't really see us as much this year, but it's still going to be a tough ass series. The number one thing that has to happen is, besides pitching and hitting has to show up. Everyone knows that's what has to happen. But the number one thing that has to happen is all you season ticket holders cannot sell to New York fans. Somehow they have to put up blocks to stop the New York crowd from coming down here and taking over the stadium, so then it sounds like City South. You can't have that. That's the number one thing that has to happen, is all the Philadelphia fans have to go up into full overdrive and just make every single person, every pitcher that comes in, the most uncomfortable that they have ever been.
I feel targeted.
100% you are.
Yeah, because I got tickets to Friday and Sunday, and it's Tuesday, and I'm exhausted. So
they have Severino going, or Quintana is going the first game. Second game is Severino, and the third game they haven't announced either. So it's going to be a tough series. I don't think we're seeing their number one, which is good. Well, I think maybe Severino is their number one right now. Yeah, because I think Manea. Yeah.
Senga's out on the 60, right?
Yeah, he's still out. Yeah.
So that's the again, shades of the 2022 Phillies. This team is terrifying because I don't know anything about them.
But the only good thing is that McNeil just went down too.
Good. I hate that rat face looking motherfucker.
So he's out for 15 days. So we're gonna miss him. Probably both series.
That's pretty much the rest of the season.
Yeah. So it's tough, but yeah, they have a lot of people on injured right now. Yeah, Senga is 60 days. So yeah, he's still out. But yeah, they got 6 pitchers that are on injured.
So
injured list.
Looking at this weekend, you calling to the Philadelphia faithful to show up and not sell their season tickets. What do you think their record's going to be against the Mets?
I think they're gonna win at least 2. I think they're gonna come out and win the series. I'm praying that they get that sweep, just to be like, stay in your fucking corner. This is our division. This is our time this year. You get the hell away. This is us.
Yep.
So I'm praying that they get that. If they sweep, obviously, it's going to give them so much more energy and so much more confidence going into any series for the rest of the season. No matter who it's against, they're going to be flying high.
That's fair. So the final topic I want to talk about, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it next week when we reconvene and maybe Tyler's back from assignment. Injuries. like you said, we've talked about it. Bohm is still out. JT is currently out. Schwarber just went out today. Sosa's out. And Bryce isn't Bryce.
Well, I was reading all the people that are coming back. They're all Real Muto and everyone. They're all coming back within, hopefully,
by the Mets.
Like the projected return dates for everyone on the Phillies before Schwarber, obviously.
Yeah.
Marchand is today. I don't think they announced anything if he came back to AAA at all. Real Muto should be Friday or Saturday, so he should be ready for the Mets. Sosa is projected for Tuesday, next Tuesday, obviously the 17th. Bohm is like mid-September, so probably next week too.
Really?
Yeah. So I saw an article today that said he could potentially, like, he started swinging the bat again today, so he could potentially be ready by the Mets series as well. But because they never really put him on 10-day IL or anything or they did, but it was retroactive. So what is today?
I think he's eligible Friday.
Yeah, I was just gonna say today's the 10th. So yeah, so technically he can come back on Friday, which technically is mid-September, but it all depends on how he's feeling swinging the bat, because Hayes is basically the same thing. He's projected to either be back by this weekend or end of September. They don't know either one.
Completely forgot about it. And his was a bug, wasn't it? Wasn't even like an injury. It was a sickness.
Kidney issue or something.
Oh, okay.
Some weird thing. I forget what that was. Turnbull is projected to come back in October. Dude, I don't even remember what the hell happened to him.
He left with a tight back, and he's been gone ever since. Because he was supposed to be the savior of our fifth starter problem. And
so I don't understand what really happened to him. They have Castro on this list. Who gives a shit? He's coming back in spring training.
Yeah, he's just getting a new phone.
Yeah, who cares? And then they have Ortiz too, and I don't even know who that is, but he's coming back late 2025.
That was a pitcher.
So who cares about him too?
What about Dylan Covey?
I think then they released him.
DFA'd, didn't he? Yeah. Or
he got released. So you have basically potentially everyone that you need coming back
for the Brewers
by Friday or hopefully this weekend.
But in theory, definitely the Brewers.
Yeah. And the only one that you're really going to have a decision to make is what's going to happen with Hayes. Because if you start Hayes over Rojas, I think you're an idiot. Because Rojas, unfortunately, how I've been calling him out this whole entire year and saying how much he sucks, he's been probably your most consistent in just not really getting clutch hits, but just getting hit on base, be it walks, be it hit by bat or hit by pitch or whatever it may be, single, double. He's getting on base.
Do you think to avoid that decision, they send Hayes on a rehab assignment?
It all depends on how good Rojas is. If Rojas is like going as he's been, which is I think he's was batting 356, I think last I saw, since a certain time it was, then I think they hey, go down to AAA and get a week there or a couple days there just to see, and then if Rojas still stays on fire, he's going to be a bench piece. Yeah, and that's he's used to that in Orioles. But
so with all these additions coming back this weekend, obviously we're going to do some subtraction. Who's leaving? Obviously the other catcher. I can't Adranis or
Marchand. Oh yeah.
Obviously he'll go back down. So that's an easy one for them. Tyler Phillips went down for Colby, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say Turnbull makes a return in the postseason. Who do you send down? Do you even take a chance on Turnbull?
I think the only one that they really have options left is unfortunately Cody. And I think when Hayes or Bohm, one of them, whenever one of them comes back, they're going to send Cody down.
Not Weston?
I don't know, man. Weston plays more positions than Cody.
It's true. Well,
so that's what Thompson likes.
He
likes more versatility.
Cody...
Even though Scotty Jetpacks plays everything.
Well, it's not a good thing, but if Schwarber's taking time off, because we don't know what the hell his issue was. He went back to first. It didn't look vicious.
Oh man!
But anytime that man seems to exert himself in a, I got to change directions real quick, he gets hurt.
The issue is being elbow discomfort. Yeah. When anybody says elbow discomfort, it always comes back to being Tommy John.
Yeah, that's
always comes back to that. And that's, if you got Tommy John by diving back to first, dude, you suck. Come on, man. That's like impossible. So hopefully it's just like, ow, my elbow hurts. Ow. Like, I hope it's just that.
That'd be awful to put on your resume. Oh,
yeah, right?
I tripped.
Yeah. I tripped and I got Tommy John surgery.
Well, it would definitely. God, I don't. Well, Tyler's not here, so I could sing some praise to him. I don't want to see him go in the IL.
No.
Because if he took the 10-day IL now, he's not back till the 20th. And then he seems like a guy that takes a while to get going again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And he just started getting going again. So it's like, what the hell? But it does leave some creativity because now you open up the DH spot, which could keep a Cody on the roster if you move Bryce to DH some days, or Nick to DH some days, or even Bohm if you're trying to start to ramp him back up without sending him for a rehab assignment. Again,
for sure.
Not wishing him to be on the IL, and that's coming from like probably the biggest Schwarber hater on the planet. Because like alternatively, send Cody to AAA, keep Schwarber on the fucking team if he continues the production he's been doing.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. But you may not like him, but your team first.
Yeah. I want the goddamn World Series. I have a ticket to it now. I'd like to go to it.
Yeah, you're gonna go to it, all right. You're gonna fucking sell it too.
If I get a chance, because I mean, the way my luck works, they'll have to play in the wild card division of the games that I did not buy a ticket for, and then they'll get eliminated. So all the 3 tickets I do have will just okay. Here's a credit to something you might not do next year.
Yeah.
So, postseason's on the horizon. The hunt for Red October is well underway. Their magic numbers of what, 11?
11 now, yeah.
Yeah. So.
What do you think they're going to do against the Mets? You didn't say.
Oh, the Mets. I honestly want to go 3-1. Nola needs a bounce back game.
The first series is a 3-game series.
Oh, then 2-1. The Colby one makes me nervous. Nola needs a bounce back game. Sanchez, I'm extremely confident in, so that'll probably be the one that bites me in the ass. Colby they fucked with him. Every time they seem to send these guys down that do all right. I'm not saying they're lighting the world on fire, but they do all right. They get sent down, and when they come back up again, they get lit up. And it unfortunately happened to him because he had a decent game in Kansas City, and now he's coming back up, and it's like the Mets are actually like they're a problem right now. They want to be a problem.
I've been telling you guys that for a month now. Been saying we got to watch the Mets instead of the Braves. Everyone's like, they're the Mets.
It's so weird because you go back and listen to our episode. We're talking about where Pete Alonso is going to land at the trade deadline. Yeah. He didn't land anywhere. He might land in the World Series, and that's going to drive me up the fucking wall if he does.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I don't even want to think about that. Don't end this. Can you remove that from our show?
Well, it'll stay there, so we can laugh about this moment in November, as I record from Costa Rica, and you guys are marching down Broad. Anyway. That's going to do it for us tonight. Tyler will hopefully be back from assignment next week. Eric, do you have anything to plug?
I don't. I thought I did at the time, but I don't.
We got some things in motion.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming, and I was trying to think if there was something that we specifically could say, but
let's get through the first day of recording. Right now, the only confident thing is we're doing this. Maybe not every week. Maybe not with the same 3 guys. But it's making its rounds. It's getting out there. Hopefully we'll record next Monday, if not next Tuesday. So I know we're doing a trend of Wednesday drops now. That may be the new norm, unfortunately, because like we're idiots and we're involved with our children's sports, which is not baseball related at the moment.
Yesterday for me, he went back.
All right. So anyway, that's going to do it for us. Check out everything at basementprotocolproductions.com, facebook.com/basementprotocolproductions. And you can listen to this on youtube.com/@BPPpods.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. You get to see the video. So if you're listening to this on Spotify and you want to know what we look like or what we're doing and which direction we're looking off to when the other one's talking, come to YouTube. That's
see how much I move. Like I'm a freaking ADH kid. Just
see what I'm drinking this week. This week it's Canada Dry Fruit Splash, which is probably smart because usually it's a Celsius and then I don't go to sleep. He's
Sun Cruiser.
Drinking. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. I've been Chris the Dace Man Dace. He's been Eric Berezzo.
Bye, Tigger.
I'm glad you enunciated the T. And that will do us for here on the Jersey Fanatics. Take it easy, basement dwellers. Ring that bell. You could do the ding ding dings again.
Yeah, you should probably cut that.
All right. Dave said something stupid, or Eric said something stupid.
Yeah, you should probably cut that.
Nah, it was a good joke. Well, I'll listen back to it. Enunciating the T. You could have said bigger.
Oh, why did I go to that one? So stupid.
Ding, ding, ding. Should have said.
Oh man.
Should have said Hamlet. What the hell's the one? Pooh's best friend? Porky? No, it's
Piglet.
Piglet. That's the one. That could be Mr. You should have just stayed away from Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, should have.
They have way too many hard G's in there. Anyway, ring the bell. Ding, ding. Ding, ding. Who knows what the ending will be?